We've all seen it. A man with power walks into a room, insults someone weaker, and people laugh, sometimes nervously, sometimes admiringly. It's the same in politics, in offices, even in churches. We say we despise bullies, yet when they rise high enough, many start to cheer. Why do people bow to tyrants? Why do they grovel to bullies? History gives us clues, and psychology gives us mirrors.
He walks with Christ, he spreads God's love, how he welcomes all. No borders or walls, he's a migrant for Christ, and he answers God's call. Oh, migrant for Christ, lead us on, without borders or walls.
In the mid-20th century, researchers like Adorno and later Bob Altermeyer studied what they called the authoritarian personality. They found that some people crave strong leaders when the world feels uncertain. Order feels safer than freedom. A loud, domineering voice promises protection when life feels chaotic. And so aggression begins to look like courage. Lies begin to sound like strength. Erich Fromm called it the escape from freedom, that subtle surrender when the anxiety of making choices feels heavier than obedience itself. Think about a workplace or community ruled by fear. People smile at the boss's cruelty, not because they love him, but because they fear being next. At first they tell themselves, he's just tough. He gets things done. Later, all leaders lie sometimes. Finally, maybe the victims deserved it. That is cognitive dissonance doing its quiet work, turning moral pain into moral numbness. The mind cannot hold both he's wrong and I follow him, so it changes the story to survive. And once the story becomes collective, shared on screens, shouted at rallies, it grows teeth. Social identity takes over. The leader no longer stands above the group. He is the group. To question him feels like betraying the tribe itself. Tanschfeld and Turner called it social identity theory. The ancient poets might call it idolatry. The golden calf, reborn with a microphone. Fear does its work too. In totalitarian systems, in abusive homes, even in toxic workplaces, fear breeds learned helplessness. You stop fighting because fighting never works. You stop speaking because speaking brings punishment. The silence becomes normal. And then one day, you look around and realize the tyrant doesn't need to shout anymore. You're already whispering. Some leaders do more than command. They enchant. Their rage feels righteous. Their certainty feels holy. They perform anger like theater, and we, lonely and uncertain, mistake it for truth. Carl Jung would call this the shadow king, the archetype of domination. We project our own hidden violence onto him and feel cleansed when he unleashes it. He becomes our avenger, our dark priest. It's a kind of worship, though of the wrong god. The ancient world knew this pattern. Rome adored its emperors, even as they devoured the Republic. The mob loved Nero's spectacle, and in every age since, people have knelt to those who promise greatness through cruelty. Hannah Arendt called it the fabricated reality of totalitarianism, a world built on repeated lies until truth itself loses gravity. But Christ showed another kingdom, a servant washing feet, a king without armies. Power through love, not domination. That vision exposes every tyrant's fraud. The one who bullies others is not strong, he is terrified. He fears losing control, so he builds a cult around his fear. Breaking free begins when someone dares to see. When one person says, "This is not strength, this is sickness." When a few others join, the spell breaks. The crowd's enchantment falters. Courage returns like oxygen to the lungs. So the question for us is not only why people bow to bullies, but how we can help them stand again. Restore agency. Restore truth. Restore belonging without fear. That's how the Spirit moves against the tyrant's shadow, not by shouting louder, but by loving braver. As migrants for Christ, we must walk through empires with open eyes, steady hearts, and have no kings but Jesus.